Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Demco Dominator Tow Bar, and we're having it attached to a 2024 Ford Maverick. When it comes to flat towing any vehicle, there's going to be 5 main components that are going to be required. And the first part on the vehicle is going to be the base plate. That's going to attach to the frame of the vehicle, creating the structural mounting point for the rest of the components, as well as the connecting point, which is your tow bar. Tow bar goes from the base plate to the hitch on the RV. And just like towing any trailer, you also have safety cables that attach to the hitch on the RV, and then also on the tabs that will be on your base plate. That way, if an accidental disconnect happens, you're still attached. You're also going to have a supplemental braking system, and all of those braking systems will have a breakaway switch. This cable is attached to the hitch on the RV, and in case of a catastrophic disconnect, it'll pull this cable, applying the brakes on the towed vehicle, bringing it to a stop. That way it's not rolling down the highway. Now we also have our diode wiring, and that's what we see, our umbilical. That'll transmit the light signals from the coach to the towed vehicle via a 7-pole to 6-way plug. That way you can get your running lights, turn signals, as well as your brake lights. And when choosing a tow bar, there's lots of different options out there, but the first things that you're going to want to look for are obviously the weight capacity to match the towed vehicle. So our Maverick today, not a very heavy vehicle, but the Dominator is rated at 7,500 pounds, which is pretty heavy duty. It's really nice the fact that you can have a little bit of extra confidence knowing that the weight capacity is quite a bit higher than the vehicle, but also if you ever move to a larger or heavier vehicle, this should account for that. The other thing that I always recommend to everyone is a non-binding tow bar, and what that simply means is once you start towing, the arms will lock into place, and that's normal. That way the vehicle tracks behind your RV. But the problem is when you go to unhook the towed vehicle, many times those arms are bound up, and it's really hard to get them to release, or at least the older style tow bars are that way. So if you're on slightly off-kilter ground or not completely level, those will bind up. Well, newer tow bars generally have the non-binding feature, which means no matter what angle you're at or tension, you're able to push this release pin and draw those arms back, making it a lot easier to unhook the vehicle. Now, something to consider, being that this is a Demco tow bar, it does have Demco ends on it, but not to worry. You can pick up this tow bar with a Blue Ox or a Curt end. So even if you have a Roadmaster base plate or something with a different style of attachment, just make sure you get the tow bar with those ends, and then it'll work with that base plate. This tow bar does come with some cool features that you don't see on all tow bars. You get a lot of the premium features, and that's really the difference between having cables all over the place. So pointing out cable management, the first thing that you'll see is these cables are in this little channel, and that's going to hold these in place, which seems kind of small, but when you have a bunch of cables during your attachment of your flat tow, having them attached to the tow bar just makes it a lot cleaner, and it also helps a lot when stowing it. You'll have all those cables still attached. It's 2 less cables that you have to store somewhere. Going along with cable management, you'll also see we have this stalk that allows us to put our umbilical here to keep it from dragging on the ground. Pretty simple design, but still very effective. It also comes with a pin and clip to attach it to your 2-inch by 2-inch hitch. Now we opted for a locking pin and clip on ours today, but you do come with a standard 5/8 pin and clip. Something else that you'll see is this shank design is rather unique, and that's because you can have it in a drop position like we have here, or you can take these bolts out, flip the head, and then have it in a rise, and that's going to give you an 1.5 inch either rise or 1.5 inch drop. And that could be the difference of having a tow bar that's out of spec as far as 3 inches. And what I mean by that is the height of your base plate needs to be within 3 inches of the height of your hitch. And that way the tow bar sits nice and level. But sometimes if you're out of that range, say maybe you have your RV a little bit higher, then you need a high-low adapter. And that's simply going to just attach into the hitch and drop it down. But this, having the ability to be able to swap it, might put you in that range to where you don't need to get that. So that little bit of adjustability goes a long way, and definitely a cool feature of this tow bar. Now when you're ready to unhook your tow bar, very easy. You're just going to take all of your components that are hooked up to your base plate and get them undone. So we had our breakaway cable there, our diode wiring, which again, very nice that it stays attached to the tow bar, and same with those safety cables. To get our pins out, we have a linch pin. We'll just peel this back, and then we can pull this out. and then we'll do the same on the other side. You'll then just draw on those arms. Again, it's being non-binding. If they are locked in place, you just push that in, draw these back, and you can see this kind of holds itself up. Over time, it may get a little bit looser, but it is nice that it kind of stays in place. It's not dropping, and you're not having to fight against the tow bar to get it in place. And to stow, you can choose one side or the other. So if you wanted to have it on the driver's side, no problem. You'll just align these pins in this red collar. So as we've raised this up, align that bottom one first, drop that into place. We can then swing our other one and then have that stowed here. If you wanted to do it to the other side, you would just do that same process, but again, just on the passenger side. And as you can see with the cable management, it's very nice. I mean, you really can just tuck this away and you're ready to go. You don't have to store these separately. And that really is the great part about that cable management. So if you're flat towing often, highly recommend a tow bar with cable management, even if you don't go with the Dominator. But something you may want to consider is a tow bar cover. It's a big investment, and if you're leaving it on the back of your RV, you want to protect it from any of the road elements and weather that you're going to see while out on the road. And there is a Demco tow bar cover that just simply slides over this. It's going to protect the tow bar, but also keep all of your cables and flat tow components nice and protected as well. And that was a look at the Demco Dominator Tow Bar attached to a 2024 Ford Maverick.